All right. Welcome everyone to Clinical Research Connections. I'll give everybody just a moment to get settled. And we'll start out while everybody is signing in with a couple of polls. So we'll start out with what is your role in our research community? And I'll give everybody a moment to answer that. Okay. Looks like we have lots of representation from Central Clinical Research Administration, coordinators, and then other as well. And I'll also ask how long you have been involved in clinical research here at the university. And while everybody is taking a moment to answer that, I'll just go ahead and go through our agenda today. We have several excellent speakers today. We're very grateful that they could join us. Amy Gannon will be speaking to us about research subject payments. Hannah Pollard will be speaking to us about ORCiD. And then Katie Nearing is going to talk to us about Roadshows. So I'll go ahead and share these poll results. We have some folks who are new, but the vast majority of respondents seem to have been with us for longer, and the over half of our attendees today have been with us for 5 or more years. So it's great to see a lot of familiar faces here. All right, well, without further ado, I will go ahead and hand the reins over to our first speaker. So Amy Gannon, please go ahead and take it away.
Sorry, everyone. I am on a different docking station and having a little bit of difficulty. Thanks for the invite today for me to attend. Caroline Quain on my team is really the expert, but exciting news, she just had a baby, and so she's at home. So you're stuck with me, but happy to be here, so thank you. The reason I am here is I had several months ago a faculty member come to me concerned about the lack of knowledge about how to pay participants. And he really was concerned that some folks who had been here a while, so we have folks here, the majority that have been here a while, some of this may be, standard and you all know this, but he felt there was some that because of maybe the pandemic had been away enough from it that he thought we should get back to the basics. So want to give him credit for asking me to do this. So
Amy, very quickly before you dive in, I can see it looks like you have presentation mode selected, but we're actually seeing your editor slide view. Is that?
Oh, okay. Okay, it looks to me like yours. Okay, so I think looks to me that I'm showing it as presentation mode. Just a second. How about this? Better?
I think it's the share in Zoom. I think you're sharing the slide editing version of the slide. So if you go to new share and then just select the presentation screen, hopefully we'll be able to see it then.
Let's see. Sorry. Okay, let's see if this works. Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so just overview, right? The methods to pay participants, pretty simple. Check. You'd be surprised how much, maybe you're not surprised, but we have a lot that goes out via check, and then gift cards. The one rule that applies to all of it is the W-9 collection. And One thing that my team asked me to emphasize is that it's collected before the payment is issued. Recently, we've had folks who didn't collect it. The payment was issued, like a gift card was given, and now they're trying to figure out how to do the tax reporting. So first method, check via the PSC, the Procurement Service Center, sorry for the acronyms. We need to ensure that you're using the study subject payment form, and I provided a link there. And you may say, why? Well, the reason is it protects the patient's name from showing up on our financial reports in our financial system. So it provides more confidentiality. And with a lot of our employees participating in studies and our reporting system being more open, this is important that we do this to protect the privacy. The one issue that we've started to see is folks are doing this through the Concur non-employees. So do not use Concur to pay study subjects or reimburse them for travel. This is a trend that we're starting to see. And the faculty member who talked to me, this was one that he felt was being done in his unit. Gift cards. So there's a lot with gift cards. Gift cards are pretty popular. There's different ways that you can do the gift cards. So overall, though, they're treated as cash, right? You can take that gift card and it's cash to whoever has it in their hands. So we need to ensure that there's controls for safeguarding, tracking the custody of it. And that's required by our auditors and our sponsors as well. Another aspect of it is that you need to ensure that we have a single custodian on record. So there really has to be a university employee that is taking the responsibility for these gift cards. And then this includes, again, your traditional vendors like Amazon. That's our really big gift card. Also Visa, but it also includes these new vendors that provide ClinCard, Tango, and there's some other competitors that are out there. And it can be electronic or it can be an actual plastic card. The key items on the gift card program is that the gift card program is needs to be set up before any purchase of gift cards. I think this is a key item that some folks may be getting ahead of themselves and get the gift cards purchased, but they didn't actually have the program set up. After the gift card approval is purchased or approved, please make sure you're only purchasing what you need. So don't have excess inventory. That's a definite problem with GreenFire because you can't get your money back. So if you pay $10,000 up front, expecting enrollment to have the need for that and you don't, it's near impossible to get that money back from GreenFire, which is ClinCard. We also had a sponsor audit last year in which a unit had purchased ahead of time the gift cards at such a large volume that the sponsor expressed concern because the enrollment wasn't meeting that. So we had to rectify that situation and refund the project for the purchased gift cards. So that's a real important item to remember. Also, just like we were talking, W-9s are required if it's over $100 in a calendar year, so January through December. And then another item that we see may not be occurring very timely. I actually talked to a department fiscal administrator yesterday where her gift card program was not being reconciled. And so cards are being added, but the recording of the payments weren't being done. So you really need to do this at least quarterly to ensure you know what you have given and what you have on site. And then payments to study subjects per university policy cannot exceed $100 per payment. If you need to go over the $100, that's where we're going to ask you to look at the check. And if it's international, we have to do a check as well. Now, there are some times where we work through some exceptions, but this is the majority rule, and we have to work with the president's office to get exceptions. Recently, we launched an online custodian training for gift card custodians because we felt like there was a lot of a lot of steps involved, a lot of expectations. So we now have a campus training that's available. And we ask for all new custodians to take that. But we also recommend anyone who's overseeing the gift cards and maybe has been doing it for a while should take a refresher course. All gift card inventories must be available for the audit. So again, that reconciliation, that tracking log. My team does go out and do audits now that we're back on campus. We are working on a new on-base form. We realize the current form is not in its best, easiest, user-friendly. So we are working with the president's office on an on-base form. So hopefully that will be happening soon. We've run into some delays, so I can't give you a timeline on that, unfortunately. And a big reminder is at year end, the December calendar year end, we do need you all to send in your gift cards for 1099 reporting. That's critical that we comply with IRS. And my team will do some follow-ups with you as well during that time, because I know that's a busy time for many people. So we do have a website that has a lot of information on there to help you, but we also have email that's dedicated, so you can always reach out. So that was a lot of information. Any questions?
Hello there, Amy. This is Merlin from Psychiatry. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I was a little bit late in the beginning, but did you say that we can use Tango card now? Is that allowed?
Tango, just like Flynn card, yes, you could use them if that is going to meet your needs the best. They do allow you to get your money back if you've had you paid them more than what you actually need. So that's a nice plus with Tango. There's other competitors as well that you may want to explore, and Holly would be happy to help you with that.
Great. Yeah, I know that in the beginning we wanted to use Tango, but we were informed that we are not allowed to use that yet. So thanks for clarifying that. Now we can. Yeah,
and what we do is we have to, because we don't have a vendor that's picked for the entire university. And so there was some hesitation, but we've started to say, we'll just approve each license, just like we would a gift card program, and work with you on setting it up appropriately. So yeah, Tango is definitely available. The other one is Tremendous. That's a new one to me. I guess that's come on to the market. So that's another one.
Right, thank you. And I have also encountered participants who refuse to fill in W-9. What do I do with these participants?
Yeah, there's just this little entity called IRS, and we have to comply with IRS regulations. It all depends. So we'd ask you to reach out to us to talk through the situation. If it is $600, I have no flexibility. If that participant is going to get more than $600, I have to collect it. The IRS has no movement on that. If it's under that, we can talk through it with you and your team and how you're tracking to make sure it stays under that amount. We understand, we've talked a lot to investigators about different communities and what we have to do. And so we'll work through those on a case-by-case basis. Recently, we worked through some issues on international, where the study was really talking with parents that were in different countries. So we have a great tax manager or tax director at the president's office, and we work through what we can do.
All right, thank you.
Great question.
Hey, Amy, it's Tim.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Amy, it's Tim. Question for you about those other vendors that you mentioned. I think when the CCTSI went through Greenfire for the Recovered study, we worked with the PSC, and they developed some standard terms and conditions, or agreed upon standard terms and conditions with Greenfire, so that if other departments or programs wanted to use that, there wasn't that long negotiation of terms and conditions. Is that been the same scenario with those other vendors as well? Do you know?
Interesting. I've not heard complaints about the other vendors. The issue with Greenfire is they limit their liability, and they have critical information in their system, and so we're at their mercy a little bit. I haven't heard that same challenge with Tango or Tremendous. I literally just heard about, so I didn't know they were on the market. I was actually expecting you to maybe ask this question about, because you have a sales rep who's from Card Greenfire. Pre-pandemic, we talked with the PSC about doing an RFP. I don't know if this group could tell me if there's an interest that folks want to use a vendor like Card, Tango, Tremendous, or whoever, for gift cards. Or if now folks are feeling like the flexibility is better and they like Amazon and Visa. I'm curious because we're seeing folks go away from Card, Greenfire, because of the cost and some of their limitations. But we're not seeing a ton of people asking for that as well. So I should have done a poll. I'm sorry. I'm not great at that, but if anybody wants to come off microphone and tell me if they would be interested in an RFP. That's interesting, right, Tim?
I mean, I get people that ask me about it, pretty regularly, and I kind of tell them about our experience. I mean, the CCTSI only has Greenfire for the one study that's that COVID-related large study that happened to fall under us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having our own license. But in terms of what I've heard from the folks in the Recover study, and maybe there's a coordinator on this call or not, that the convenience of using the Greenfire product, at least for us, has been tremendous. Just the ease of adding payments, getting the card out to people, over the manual check process is really that process is really burdensome. So, for us, the Greenfire product has worked great. You mentioned that people have moved away from it for price. I don't find it to be, that expensive. We've got something like 300 participants or something in the Recover project. And I think our upfront, implementation cost was around $3,000 for basically access for 3 users to, get into the system. And then I think we pay something like $300 a month or something for the cost of, loading the numerous payments onto the different cards. So for me, that, what I've heard, the convenience has outweighed the burden of that, several $1,000s a year, moving forward.
Erin, probably telling me I'm up on time, right? So I was gonna.
Yeah, we are getting, we're a little bit over time, but we do have a few more questions in the chat. Maybe we could go through these really quickly, and then if there are any other additional questions, is there an email address that folks can reach out to regarding some of these questions? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. You can send it to the one that's in the presentation, or you can just send it to me, Amy Gannon, and I can get back to you. And I can come, I think, I'm seeing folks are saying they like Card. I think we will have to think about coming to this group and the DFAs about if we really need to pursue it, getting a site-wide license. There will be FTE that we'll have to also pay for to manage it. But if I could get the questions since I'm over, I'm happy to take those offline.
Okay, we'll take those questions offline and potentially maybe come back to those.
The one element that I think everybody is interested in is what happens if somebody is undocumented.
So that's where I have an entity called the IRS that I have to comply with. And so I don't have a lot of flexibility. We have looked across other universities at what they're doing. I mentioned We have had a few exceptions. There's folks on here who know those exceptions we made. So we can talk about those as a one-off, but I can't publish a policy that says undocumented or international can have gift cards and no tax reporting. So unfortunately, the IRS has a $600 limit. They have expectations, but we like to work with each unit when they have a very unique exception. And again, our tax director has been great about figuring out solutions of what we could do.
And then, sorry, I know Erin's running, but I just want, because the chat's been going, to be clear, from a university policy, we have to report anybody, we have to get a W-9 for anybody over $100, even though the IRS, it's $600, because I just don't want people getting confused.
Right. It's $100 per our policy. And that's because you could have a study subject that's in in 3 different studies, and they could really come up very quickly. It's a pretty standard across when we looked at universities, but technically it is 600. So again, if folks have these challenges, that's what we work with. If we can guarantee there's a large center that we work with on their tracking to make sure no one hits that 600. So we just work on those as a one-off to facilitate research. But we have to stick with the university policy for right now. I explored that and they're not interested in changing it with the president's office.
Thanks.
Okay. We will go ahead and capture these questions that have come up in the chat and forward them along to you, Amy, afterwards. So moving on to our next speaker, Hannah Pollard is going to speak to us about ORCiD.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me to speak today. I am going to talk about ORCiD. So the first step is, what is ORCiD? ORCiD is a persistent digital identifier that distinguishes you from everybody else. So practically what this means is everyone comes to us. Us is the library. I am the scholarly communications informationist. I handle things like bibliometrics. So people will say, hey, I really need my H index. We then have to find all the things that you have published, which I know sounds easy because you're the one who published them, right? But it's very difficult. And the reason why is when we look for these articles, what we look for is your surname and your first initial. So a lot of people are already thinking, uh-oh, I have a pretty common surname. Some people are thinking, my surname's not that common. You'd be surprised. My last name is Pollard. We have another Hannah Pollard here at Anschutz, not even out there in the whole world, just here at Anschutz. We do also have another H. Pollard who publishes a lot. It's Henry Pollard, a researcher in Australia. So now if we look for H. Pollard, all of Henry's things are going to come up. My things are going to come up. The other Hannah's things are going to come up. It's a big mess. Now, this doesn't even get into folks who have double-barreled surnames. I'm sure you have experienced, what is the journal going to list me as? Are they going to properly list both of my surnames? Are they only going to list one? What order? Maybe they'll mash them all together into one. People get their names misspelled. Anyone who has diacritical marks, so folks who have umlauts in their surname, tildes, anything like that, whether or not the journal can handle those. All of this means it is very hard to tell who you are. It might not seem so to you, but I promise anyone else trying to figure out who you as a researcher are, they could use an ORCiD, which is a simple number. So this is the website. This is the ORCiD website, and I will send this in the chat. If you all please could go to the ORCiD website. If you haven't already, all you need to do is hit this register now. You should only ever have one ORCiD. You should only ever have one ORCiD. So if you already have one, do not create a new account. It's also worth noting you should use your personal email to sign in. Do not sign up with your CU Anschutz email. The reason for this is, say you ever leave, you accept a new job, you retire, etc., and then you forget your password to ORCiD, they're going to send that to your CU Anschutz's email address, which you might not have access to anymore. So please sign up with a personal email. And once you've signed up with your personal email, you will get a number, your ORCiD ID. Your page will look like this. Obviously, it won't have all of my information filled in, but it'll look something like this. And you can see here, this is my ORCiD or ORCiD. Those you get interchangeably. It's the same thing. It's the risk of seeing a word that you've only ever read. So ORCiD or ORCiD, you will get this number. This number always means me. If I change my name, if my name gets messed up, it's misspelled, if I've included that number, everyone can find me. So now every time I publish in the future, and now every time you as well, once you've signed up for ORCiD, you will get your own ORCiD, your own ORCiD. Every time you put in that number, this number is completely unique to you. We no longer need to worry about it's just your surname and first initial. Your surname's misspelled. They've messed something up. It doesn't have the right diacritical marks. Whatever it is, we don't need to worry about it. You can change your name. You can list different things. Another common source is people go, well, can't you just find all the things that are mine? We don't know if you've changed your area of research interest. For all we know, maybe you are that H. Pollard who was in veterinary medicine. This allows you to, you don't have to worry about sending people to search for you and they'll find some stuff and it might be you, they don't know. You'll be able to create a list of everything that you want folks to see right here. Now, very important, just because you create an ORCiD, you have your account, you have your number, you must input this number when you publish. ORCiD isn't magic. It can't magically tell that now you have this number and it'll go back and sync everything. Any publication moving forward, you will need to include this ORCiD. Most journals should have a place where they'll say digital object identifier. A lot of them will say your ORCiD. If you're ever uncertain, you can email me and I'll help you figure it out. But you have to include this number, this ORCiD ID. And that will let that journal know that now, whenever this article, it's yours and it'll automatically populate. Now, that doesn't help with getting things that you've already published. If you want to do that, the quickest way here at Anschutz is to go to Google Scholar. I'm just going to use this, and we're going to say that some of these are mine. What we're going to do is, all we need to do is decide, this one is mine, sure. Cite, and then this bib text. And basically what you want to do is go through, look for, yep, there's another H. Pollard, but we're going to go through and we're going to create that bib text. This is importing works from a bib text file. I'm going to send this as well to the chat. This is how you will populate things you have already done. So anything that you've already published that you want to appear in your ORCiD, what you will do is create a bib text file and import it like that. Now, the problem with Google Scholar is you have to do it one at a time, but we don't know that all of these are not the same person. So we would probably need to do it one at a time, even if we could bulk import, because we'd need to go through and see which ones are you, which ones aren't you, etc. So, any questions for me about what ORCiD is, the benefits of it, what it'll, anything at all that's ORCiD related? I've convinced you all.
You can also submit questions in the chat. Oh, yeah, okay, we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Absolutely.
Asks, can ORCiD be used as a resource to search for publications by author?
Yes, it can. That's a very useful way to do ORCiD. So one of the nice things is that you can also set it up so you can say my affiliation is Anschutz, so you can look at everybody in the department, etc. Now the trick is everybody has to have ORCiDs. So you need to convince. I feel like such a multi-level marketer being like, you sign up and then convince your friends to sign up. But really, I promise it makes it so much easier for those of us who need to do your bibliometric analysis. And honestly, the number one thing we get is folks coming to us and saying, I want to brag about all the good work my department's doing. How can I get a list of what people in my department are publishing? So you can search by individual authors, or you can combine a lot of ORCiD IDs and search for any particular group. So if you're affiliated with a different group as well, you would be able to get all of the ORCiD IDs for that group, and you can say, all right, here's everyone in this subgroup, or absolutely, yes, individual author. It's also very useful because it'll essentially create like an online CV, and you can use that to send to outside entities. I will say people particularly like it for giving awards.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Hannah. We have another question in the chat from Christine. She asks, is there a cost associated with this?
Great question. The answer is no. Completely free. ORCiD is a nonprofit. So they are basically designed, created. All they want to do, they're also not going to sell your information. So that's not how they're making money. What they're doing is just trying to solve the problem of who wrote what. That's it. So no cost to you, will never be a cost. It's not necessarily private because you want to display, here's me, here's all my works, but they're not going to sell any of your data. No cost.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. This is really helpful.
Yeah, of course. I'll put my email in the chat as well. Any questions, any problem with ORCiD, please reach out to me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you again. And again, folks can find Hannah's email in the chat if they have additional questions about ORCiD. So I will pass it along to Katie Nearing to discuss Roadshows regarding the Older Adult Research Specialist Group.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Katie Nearing. I'm an assistant professor in the Division of Geriatric Medicine and the principal investigator for the National Institute on Aging Research Infrastructure Award that's funding Research Roadshows. And I appreciate the opportunity to share a bit about these Research Roadshows, and hopefully by the time I'm done, you and your research teams will want to join us on the road. So just, I want to start by trying to create a visual for you. I want, first of all, to invite you to erase from your mind the typical image of a research team sitting at a community-based event at a table with flyers and various materials that they're handing out. With these research roadshows, our goal is to really respond to adult learning theory and make these opportunities to be for older adults, particularly to interact and engage with research. For many, this may be the very first opportunity that they've ever had to really learn about research, to have the opportunity to learn directly from researchers about what they're learning from their research and what it means to me and my health. And so we really want these research roadshows to create that bridge for, in particular, older adults to have that opportunity to learn about the variety of types of research and clinical trials in particular that we're doing on this campus, what it means to their health, and to also help people have an experience that lets them know that they can participate in research. There are opportunities to participate in research, and we want to build those bridges to help them do that. For you all and your research teams, we hope that these events, these research roadshows, create an opportunity for you to recruit and enroll study subjects, and particularly those who may be relatively underrepresented in your research. So with that, hopefully, as we go along, I'll continue to create the picture in your mind of what we're really trying to create with these research roadshows. Is very experiential, very interactive, very hands-on, with lots of different types of supports for engaging older adults in research. And meeting them where they are, regardless of their readiness to participate in a clinical trial. So I want to acknowledge the funding support that I have, that we as an institution have from the National Institute on Aging for this Research Infrastructure Award, which is focused on promoting the inclusion of older adults in research. With this 3-year award, we have 2 specific aims. The first is to train and promote the hiring of older adult research specialists. So these are older adults who are trained as research navigators to support the recruitment and retention of peers for clinical trials. That's our first aim. And the second aim is to engage populations of older adults in clinical trials through innovative outreach and engagement strategies, the Research Roadshow being our primary strategy. So why are we focusing on older adults? Older adults are a population that are underrepresented in clinical trials. Even clinical trials focused on health conditions that are most prevalent in older adults, or that may have particularly devastating health consequences for older adults. And if you think about clinical trials, for example, leading to a new medication, and all of the medications that older adults may be prescribed. We recently did a chart review with the VA where older veterans were prescribed an average of 14 medications. And that was just a specific subsample of older adults that we looked at. So when we don't have older adults included in those clinical trials, we don't know if the products of that research may be safe or beneficial for those populations that are not included. So again, this is why we're focused on older adults and trying to create bridges for participating in clinical trials. We also have this new directive from NIH that came out in 2019 that requires that we provide scientific or clinical justification for age-based exclusion criteria. So without that justification, we must be enrolling older adults, and we must have effective ways to reach populations of older adults. The same year that this policy, NIH published this policy or guidance, we looked at how we were doing in terms of enrolling older adults. And what we found is only about a quarter of our adult clinical trials had enrolled even one adult over 50 years of age or older that same year. So we knew we had a lot of work to do. So clearly we have a moral and scientific imperative to make sure that we are doing a good job of reaching and enrolling older adults, including older adults in our clinical trials. Why are we traveling the state with these research roadshows? In Colorado, I know that a lot of our work is concentrated in the Denver metro area or the Front Range. But the rural populations are another population that are underrepresented in clinical trials. And so if we want to increase the generalizability of our results, we need to also consider geography and geographic diversity. There's also the intersectionality of rurality and age, such that we see a concentration of older adults in our rural areas, and in Colorado is no exception. The 10 counties with the highest median age in Colorado are all rural, and this this map that I have from the state demographer's office shows these dark regions of our state. These are regions that we've experienced an increase, a 75% or greater increase of older adults over the last decade. So clearly we have a tremendous opportunity in Colorado to engage populations that are underrepresented in clinical trials in our research to increase the generalizability of our results. So again, to help you formulate a picture or visual in your mind about what these research roadshows look like, I wanted to share with you a few pictures and some examples of teams. And if you're asking yourself, you know, who would travel to go and take part as a research team in a research roadshow, it's really anyone that's eager to find new ways to reach and connect with populations or groups that are underrepresented in your research. And to give you a sense of the range of different types of studies and study teams that we've had participate with us, I'll walk you through a couple of examples and pictures here. So top right is the team from the Center for Inclusive Design and Engineering. They've participated in every research roadshow. We've had really 3 thus far. We did some initial pilots, but I'll count 3 so far. And they have used these research roadshows as an opportunity to get feedback on new technologies and devices that they've created. So what you see here is this team engaging a couple in doing some user testing of a voting app to support continued civic engagement of older adults who may have a difficult time getting to the polling place, for example. So they're collecting feedback from that couple there. We also have in the opposite top corner, left-hand corner, top corner is Ryan the robot. This is a social emotional robot that also has made an appearance at our Age Tech Research Roadshow. And again, this team received feedback from individuals who were interested in perhaps having some this type of technology support to provide support for a caregiver of a patient with a memory issue, dementia. So this team here at our last research roadshow got feedback from 26 individuals. If I move here to another user testing experience, so these are experiences where older adults can actually have a firsthand experience of engaging with research and experiencing how their participation, their feedback directly shapes a concrete product. And we hope to parlay that kind of experience and that realization of how my participation can really make a difference in how a product of research, the degree to which it may be beneficial for someone like me, we hope to parlay that as a key message that we keep repeating and reinforcing throughout. So with this user experience or hands-on experience participating in research. This is a physical therapist turned engineer who created Steady Play, which is a way to for us all to have fun as we are doing balance training for fall prevention. And so as you adjust your weight on this board, it directs a car around an obstacle course. So you can imagine this particular research team and experience always has a long line at our research roadshows. And our last research roadshow was about 4 hours, and she engaged 11 people all the way through her 30-minute research protocol. And then finally, I want to highlight another study team that's been with us who actually, because of their particular research design or protocol, are able to enroll participants in their trial. And their goal is to enroll a total of 30 in what they have described as a hard to enroll study. And over the course of 3 research roadshows that they've been with us for, they have enrolled a total of 10 people. So a third of their accrual goal. So I hope that gives you a sense of the variety of teams, the variety of experiences, and how that's supported recruitment. We do want to create an experience that leads people from increased knowledge to intentions to participate in research and to offer a variety of supports along the way. So I mentioned the user experiences. If that creates positive outcome expectations about the impact that I could have through my participation in research, they can engage with at the research hub with research teams who are there to recruit and enroll for studies. And one of the things that we also do at our research roadshows is provide guided tours of our research studies website. I'm sure you all are all familiar with that website, which features all of our actively enrolling clinical trials on our campus. And we, based on participants' interest, topical interest, we show them how to find the research studies website, how to do a search based on their topics of interest and find clinical trials that they may be interested in participating in. And we also help them understand what information is available on the landing page when they've gone to a particular studies page to learn, to find information about who's eligible or eligibility criteria, what participation entails, and really what that study is trying to understand or learn. And so one of the things that I want to really implore of you all is if you have any contribution to the content of the research studies website for your study, please use language that a lay audience would understand, and that would help us enormously use this as a tool for helping connect community members with studies that they are interested in participating in. And I want to do a time check. Okay. I need to, we do adapt based on the venue that we're in. And so we can't always create that sequence or that roadshow roadmap that I showed you. Sometimes we have to use space very creatively. And so we were recently in the Senior Planet venue. And so we had research teams in this open area. The ID CAP team who was enrolling, we had them in a more private space. And we always like to have some space that's kind of a rest stop. If you want to go with this analogy of the roadshow roadmap, having a rest stop, which is a place where community members can truly rest, put their feet up, go through their packet of materials, consider an informed consent form, and we also have conversation starters on the tables that ask them questions to think about what was a medication or a new device that was created in your lifetime that's affected your health and your quality of life, to again, as ways to help them connect research with their own lives. And then we had this nice area here for refreshments where people could get food. So we do flex based on our space. And rather than a research roadmap, we simply provided this as a guided tour about what they could interact with, experiment with, play with, and where they could find each of these technologies during our Age Tech Research Roadshow. We also have an activities card, and if they complete all of these activities and return their card, their name is entered for a 25% or $25 gift card. So I was listening very carefully to Amy's presentation. Okay. So we really want to highlight the positive impact that they can make through participating in research, that research can support healthy aging, and we really try to make explicit innovations and the new insights that we're learning about aging through the research happening on this campus, that research is a way to have a voice and to contribute to the health of our current and future generations, so to make a difference. We do share resources developed by our older adult research specialists. These are part of the resources that we provide to older adult participants and others that may come with them. This is an example of a decision aid of questions and considerations that older adults created for other older adults as they're considering participating in a clinical trial. We also, I'll stop here. I just wanted to highlight one other thing, is that addressing the digital divide is a really important facet of connecting people to research. And so one of the things that we try to do is make sure we are providing information about affordable, low-cost ways to get internet access. Our older adult research specialists, as I mentioned, provide those guided tours through the Research Studies website. They also, with permission, can enable accessibility features on people's devices to support them in using devices and being able to participate, for example, in a trial that's focused on using a health app or requires that as part of participation. So we hope that these variety of supports help people. It helps build their self-efficacy, their confidence that they can participate in research and make a positive difference. So if you're interested in participating with us, please take a picture of this QR code. This will take you to our site where there are 3 tabs. The third is where you can fill out a Research Roadshow interest form and let us know you'd like to join us on the road. We are planning to travel to the Eastern Plains and the southern part of the state in the next few months. And I will stop there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Katie. I think this is a great resource. We do have one question in the chat, and if there are more from folks, please keep them coming. Feel free to unmute yourself or submit them through the chat. Are we able to provide study flyers for these research roadshows, or do members of our study team have to be there? I manage several studies that may recruit older adults. Is older than 50 years of age your definition of an older adult?
So yes, we would love to take your research study flyers, your IRB, COMERV approved research study flyers with us. We ask that people do think about, there is some coordination around that because we are engaging specific populations of older adults and want to make sure we're tailoring our materials, those studies that we're featuring, the composition of our Research Roadshow team to be responsive to the population that we are engaging with. So that's just something to consider. We do really highly curate the studies that we feature and think and try to be very thoughtful about that. So for example, when we did a Research Roadshow in Grand Junction in April, we really wanted to make sure that we were featuring studies that people could participate in remotely, or that might only require 1 or 2 study visits over a longer period of time, so that we were really thinking about, we want to connect people with studies that they can feasibly participate in. So that's something. And then, in terms of older adult, NIH CDC defines older adult as 65 years of age and older. At the VA, we have a broader definition because of the physiological and psychological effects of military service. Often veterans physiologically are older than they are chronologically. So we usually use 60 years of age and older. So if it's 50 years of age and older, that's just fine. We'd love to include your study flyers and your team.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Katie. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to us about this. So I know we are getting close to time. I will quickly hand it over to Ben Chalier for some brief updates.
Thanks, Aaron. I think just a couple updates from me. There is a recruitment workshop that most of you should have gotten an email about coming up on Friday. It's a follow-up to the March workshop to have a discussion on research recruitment practices on campus, looking at DEI, building and maintaining community relationships and things like that. So I would encourage you all to attend. There is an RSVP link in the email that went out. It's 9 to 11 a.m. on Friday in the Krugman Conference Hall in RC2. I'm actually gonna send in the chat now. Okay. Jamie and I both sent links about it. So click one of the links. Thanks, Jamie. And register if you have not. I think it will be good. This time we are doing hybrid, so you can come in person to be part of the conversation, or you can be online through Zoom. Other things, just really fast, I mentioned the IND office is open and running. They've supported already 11 INDs and 6 single patient INDs in the past 18 days since they opened on July 1st. If you plan to or have a study that you know will need an IND or an IND, please reach out to them. All INDs and IDEs go through the IND office, or the IND program, I should say. They'll get directed to the oncology support if it's a cancer study, or stay within OVCR if it is non-oncology. And then the last plug, which I'm trying to do every month if I remember, is the Teams channel for the clinical research community that Haley and Trisha have set up. If you're not a member of that Teams, please reach out to Haley and or Trisha, and I don't know, I see you, Haley, if you want to put a link in the chat or anything like that. But it is a great resource. People are asking questions in the chat and getting responses. There's a lot of valuable documents, and I think we will be posting announcements to that Teams channel as well as new things pop up. So that is everything I had, Aaron.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we are about at time, so I will wrap it up there. Thank you to all of our speakers, and have a great rest of your week.